Stories, brought to you by Fidelity Wealth Management.
Americans in the South flock to COVID-19 testing centers.
Poland grants Belarusian sprinter a visa.
This is Reuters Now.
Lines of cars on Monday were backed up at some COVID-19 testing sites in Florida as the Delta variant sweeps through the American South. One Florida county health official said the new surge is the largest yet.
These are the longest lines I've seen. Surely what's motivating this is what we're seeing in the media. Rise in COVID cases across the country, across the state, across the county.
U.S. officials say Florida faces one of the worst outbreaks in the nation. Government health data shows it now has about a quarter of those Americans hospitalized by the disease. The head of the state's hospital association said the current surge saw hospitalizations skyrocket from 2,000 a day to 10,000 in less than a month. That breaks a previous record. Deaths, however, have remained well below the last peak. Meanwhile, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis has resisted mask or vaccine mandates. Earlier this year, the Republican-controlled state government limited local officials' ability to impose COVID restrictions. And last week, DeSantis issued an executive order barring schools from mandating masks in the classroom as students returned this month. Other states across the South, like Arkansas and Louisiana, are following Florida's trends in hospitalizations and could eventually break their state records. It's prompted Democratic Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards to reinstate an indoor mask mandate. To curb the crisis, top government and health officials continue to urge Americans to get vaccinated.
Support for Reuters comes from Fidelity Wealth Management. See how a Fidelity representative can help with tax-smart guidance throughout the year. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC.
The Belarusian athlete who took refuge in the Polish embassy in Tokyo on Monday has been granted a humanitarian visa by the Warsaw government. Kristina Szymanowska had been due to compete in the women's 200-meter heats on Monday, but she says she was taken to the airport on Sunday to board a Turkish Airlines flight. And she believes she'd been removed from the team after speaking out about what she described as the negligence of their coaches. The sprinter had earlier complained on Instagram that she was entered in the 4x400-meter relay without her knowledge, after other team members were found to be ineligible to compete because they had not undergone a sufficient number of doping tests. The sportswoman refused to board the flight and sought the protection of Japanese police at the airport before taking refuge at the Polish embassy. Poland's deputy foreign minister said Szymanowska plans to leave for Poland in the coming days, where she will be joined by her husband.
She was offered by us a humanitarian visa, and she already applied for that visa. She's at this moment at the Polish embassy, so the procedures are ongoing.
France's European Affairs Minister also chimed in, telling RFI Radio it would be an honor for Europe to grant Szymanowska political asylum. The Belarusian Olympic Committee said coaches had decided to withdraw Szymanowska from the Games on doctors' advice about her emotional and psychological states. Chief coach of the Belarus athletics team, Yuri Moisevich, said he noticed something was off prior to the incident.
She stood out for her behaviour. We have known her for a long time, and there was something wrong with her. She secluded herself sometimes, and sometimes she didn't want to communicate. We have a young team who are very hard to cheat. We were getting some signals that something was happening to the girl.
The incident has put renewed attention on the political discord in Belarus, a former Soviet state run by Alexander Lukashenko. Police have cracked down on dissidents following a wave of protests triggered by an election last year, which the opposition says was rigged to keep him in power.
Millions of American renters on Sunday were at risk of being forced from their homes after a pandemic-related U.S. government ban on evictions expired at midnight. The expiration is a blow to President Joe Biden, who had made a last-ditch request to Congress on Thursday to extend the moratorium, citing the raging Delta variant. On Friday, the House of Representatives adjourned without reviewing tenant protections after a Republican congressman blocked a bid to extend it by unanimous consent until October 18th. Democratic Representative Cori Bush and others spent Friday night outside the U.S. Capitol to call attention to the issue. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren arrived on Saturday to support the protest, noting that Congress had approved $46.5 billion in rental assistance, but that the distribution of that money to renters was moving too slow. According to a study by the Aspen Institute and the COVID-19 Eviction Defense Project, more than 15 million people in 6.5 million U.S. households are currently behind on rental payments, collectively owing more than $20 billion to landlords.
Those were your top stories for today.